Have you ever felt a shadow stretch across your soul? A quiet ache that no earthly comfort could soothe? I certainly had. There was a time when my world felt muted, shades of gray dominating every sunrise, every conversation. I walked through life with a peculiar detachment, observing rather than participating, convinced that true wonder had long since evaporated from our cynical reality. But then something shifted. A whisper in the wind, a fleeting glimpse of something profoundly other, began to stir the stagnant air around me. What if, I wondered, there was more than meets the eye? What if an impossible event, something truly miraculous, were to unfold right before you? Imagine the very fabric of our predictable world beginning to fray at the edges, revealing a luminescence, a profound beauty that defies explanation. This isn't a fairy tale. This is a reflection on an experience that irrevocably altered my perception of existence, an encounter so subtle yet so powerful it could only be described as divine. I'm talking about the day I began to understand what it means for an angel to descend to earth, not necessarily with wings and a halo, but with a presence so pure, so resonant, it could only be from another realm. Stay with me, because what I discovered might just change the way you see your own reality too. My days were a predictable cycle, punctuated by the relentless hum of the city and the echoing quiet of my own thoughts. I prided myself on my pragmatism, my ability to dissect and rationalize every phenomenon. Emotions, I thought, were simply chemical reactions. Faith, a crutch for the uncertain. I saw the world through a meticulously constructed lens of skepticism, believing I was protected from disappointment by never truly hoping. My evenings were often spent scrolling through endless feeds, seeking a connection that never quite materialized, feeling a profound isolation despite being constantly surrounded. There was a void, a gnawing emptiness that I attributed to the human condition, a fundamental flaw in our design. I believed this was just how life was meant to be, a series of fleeting moments eventually swallowed by oblivion. One crisp autumn morning, a subtle change began. It started with an almost imperceptible shift in the light, a quality of glow I hadn't noticed before, casting long, ethereal shadows that seemed to dance with a life of their own. Then came the birds. Their melodies, usually a background hum, suddenly resonated with an unusual clarity, a depth of sound that seemed to speak directly to something deep within me. It was as if the world had collectively taken a deeper breath, and I, for the first time in years, truly noticed. I brushed it off, of course, attributing it to a change in season, a trick of the mind. But the feeling persisted, a prickling sensation at the back of my neck, a sense that something was approaching, something momentous and beautiful. The angel, as I've come to understand it, didn't arrive in a blinding flash of glory or with trumpets sounding. Its manifestation was far more subtle, woven into the mundane tapestry of everyday life. It appeared in the quiet strength of an elderly neighbor, Mrs. Eleanor, who, despite her own declining health, radiated an unyielding optimism and profound peace. Her eyes held a depth of compassion I had never witnessed, a serene understanding that seemed to pierce through my carefully constructed cynicism. She would greet me with a gentle smile, her voice a soft melody, always asking about my day with genuine interest, not polite curiosity. Her presence was a balm, a stark contrast to the hurried indifference I had grown accustomed to. Her garden, usually overgrown, suddenly burst with vibrant, impossibly fragrant blooms even late into the season. Was it merely coincidence, or was something else at play? One afternoon, I found myself drawn to her small porch, a rare break from my solitary routine. We spoke of simple things, the weather, the community, the changing colors of the leaves. Yet beneath the surface of our conversation, I felt an extraordinary current. She spoke of resilience, of finding joy in adversity, not as platitudes, but as lived truths. Even in the darkest night, she whispered, her gaze fixed on the setting sun, the stars still shine. You just have to remember to look up. Her words were simple, yet they landed with the weight of revelation. I had forgotten to look up. I had forgotten the stars. She spoke of a steadfast love that permeated the universe, a divine hand guiding even the smallest sparrow. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny? She mused, her eyes twinkling. Yet not one of them will fall to the ground outside your Father's care. And even the very hairs of your head are all numbered. So don't be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows. Matthew 10:29-31. Her words, straight from Scripture, weren't preached, but shared as a profound truth, a gentle reminder that felt specifically for me. My initial reaction was a mix of fascination and unease. My pragmatic mind struggled to reconcile her unwavering faith with the harsh realities I perceived. Was she naive, or was I missing something crucial? I started observing her more closely, noting how she interacted with others, always with patience, always with kindness. She volunteered at a local soup kitchen, her frail hands serving meals with a dignity that elevated the act to a sacred ritual. She listened to the stories of the homeless with an attentiveness that made each person feel seen, valued. There was no judgment in her gaze, only a deep, abiding love. I couldn't help but compare her actions to my own, seeing the stark difference in our approaches to life, and a quiet shame began to stir within me. My inner skeptic fought hard, trying to dismiss her as an anomaly, a rare good soul. But the mystery deepened. Why did she have this peace? Where did it come from? I started finding myself drawn to acts of service, small at first, lending a hand to a neighbor, offering a kind word to a stranger. These were actions alien to my previous self, yet they felt strangely natural, almost instinctual. It was as if her presence had awakened a dormant part of my own spirit. I began reading some of the old books she had given me, texts I once scoffed at, filled with stories of faith, redemption, and divine intervention. Passages that once seemed archaic and irrelevant now pulsed with a newfound meaning. I stumbled upon the words, "For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." Matthew 6:21. My treasure had been in my cynicism, my protective walls. Now I felt a longing for something more. Then came a storm, unlike any I had witnessed. The sky turned a bruised purple, the wind howled like a banshee, and the rain hammered down, threatening to tear the world apart. Power lines snapped, casting the entire neighborhood into an unsettling darkness. My meticulously ordered life was suddenly thrown into chaos. Fear, a cold, sharp blade, pierced through my composure. I was alone in the dark, the familiar comforts stripped away, and the emptiness I usually ignored roared back with terrifying intensity. I felt utterly vulnerable, small, and insignificant. In that profound darkness, I truly felt the weight of my isolation. Was this it? Was this the end of my carefully constructed world? Through the driving rain, a faint glow appeared, flickering like a distant star. It was Mrs. Eleanor's porch light, powered by a small generator, casting a beacon of warmth into the tumultuous night. I hesitated, my pride warring with a desperate need for solace. But the fear won. I stumbled through the wind and rain, knocking tentatively on her door. She opened it immediately, her face serene, a small lamp illuminating her gentle smile. "Come in, child," she said, her voice cutting through the storm's fury. "You're safe here." She had hot tea waiting and a blanket. As I huddled by her small, warm fireplace, the storm raged outside, but inside her home a profound peace settled. She didn't offer platitudes or empty reassurances. Instead, she simply said, "The Lord is my strength and my shield. In Him my heart trusts, and I am helped. My heart exults, and with my song I give thanks to Him." Psalm 28:7. In that moment, stripped of all my worldly defenses, surrounded by the literal and metaphorical storm, her words weren't just comforting, they were a lifeline. I looked at her, truly looked at her, and saw not just an old woman, but something transcendent. Her calm wasn't born of ignorance, but of an unshakable faith, a profound connection to something greater than herself, greater than the storm. It was as if a veil had been lifted. The angel, I realized, was not a literal being with wings, but the divine presence working through her, manifesting as unconditional love, unwavering faith, and quiet strength. It wasn't about a mystical visitation, but about recognizing the sacred in the human, the divine spark in an ordinary person. It was the spirit of compassion, hope, and steadfast love, descending and illuminating a dark world, specifically my dark world. The storm eventually passed, but its impact and Mrs. Eleanor's presence within it had irrevocably changed me. I wasn't suddenly free of all doubt or fear, but I now carried a powerful truth within me, that divine love isn't some distant, abstract concept, but a tangible force capable of transforming lives, often through the most unexpected vessels. My cynicism began to erode, replaced by a nascent hope, a desire to embody even a fraction of the kindness I had witnessed. I started to understand that God doesn't always send a literal angel. Sometimes He sends a person, a circumstance, a quiet realization that pierces the darkness. Sometimes He asks us to be that light for others. My life didn't magically become perfect, but my perspective shifted fundamentally. The world was no longer gray. It was filled with vibrant hues, opportunities for connection, and moments of grace. I found myself seeking out ways to serve, to listen, to offer comfort. I learned to look for the divine in the everyday, to recognize the angelic in acts of selfless love, in unexpected kindness, in the enduring strength of the human spirit. Do not forget to show hospitality to strangers, the Bible reminds us, for by so doing, some people have shown hospitality to angels without knowing it. Hebrews 13:2. This verse, which once seemed quaint, now resonated with profound truth. We are called to be angels to one another, to embody that divine love and bring hope to a world often shrouded in despair. What if we all embraced this truth? What if we understood that the power to bring light, to offer comfort, to inspire faith resides within each of us? The angel descending to earth isn't just a story from ancient texts. It's a living reality, unfolding in the quiet acts of compassion, in the steadfast love that perseveres through trials, in the gentle whispers of hope that remind us we are never truly alone. It's an invitation to look beyond the surface, to recognize the sacred connection we share, and to become a vessel for that divine love in our own communities. So, I invite you to reflect, where do you see the divine in your own life? Who has been an angel to you, perhaps unknowingly? What subtle shifts have you noticed that point to something more? I believe that by opening our hearts and minds to these possibilities, we can all experience our own profound transformations. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever had an experience that felt truly otherworldly? Your story might be the light someone else needs to see. And if this resonated with you, please consider subscribing for more reflections on faith, life, and the mysteries that bind us all.
Your support helps this message reach more people who might be searching for their own glimpse of the divine.